The sound of metal crashing tore through the quiet night. Dust rose thick into the air. Dozens of powerful bodies slammed violently against the solid steel walls. This was not a scene from an action movie, but a chilling sight I witnessed with my own eyes when our massive livestock pen trap system was activated. A tense night began as chaotic cries echoed out of the darkness. A few days earlier, Mr. Daniel, a longtime farmer living on the edge of the forest, called me with a worried voice. When I arrived, the orchard he was so proud of looked like a battlefield. The ground had been ripped apart in large patches. Many fruit trees were broken and gnawed. He pointed toward the dense tree line in the distance and sighed, as if to say that the real nightmare had only just begun. As their numbers grew beyond control, they were no longer simply part of nature but had become a direct threat to crops and to the safety of communities living near the forest. We knew that traditional small cage traps were useless against a herd this large. To manage the population effectively and humanely, we had to take a much bigger step. Three heavy-duty steel corral trap systems were quickly deployed at several hot spots along the forest edge. The whole team worked non-stop through the afternoon. One by one, we assembled the massive steel panels into a giant enclosed circle. The most important part was installing the large drop gates connected directly to infrared cameras for remote activation. However, the real secret weapon sat at the center of the trap, an automatic feeder. We programmed it to release corn at the same time the wild boars usually appeared. When they focused on the food pile, their natural caution would drop, making them less aware of anything around them. Two in the morning. The forest wind cut sharply through the cold night. Inside the truck parked a few hundred meters away, we sat completely still. Our eyes were fixed on the phone screens showing the infrared camera feed. From the dark brush, shadowy shapes began to appear. Dozens of wild boars quietly stepped into the circle to feed on the corn. The golden rule of this work is patience. Rushing even a second can mean failure. You must wait for the lead sow to enter. You wait for the last one to cross the gate. You wait until the entire herd is distracted by the food and unaware of what is happening. The moment the tail of the last boar disappeared past the threshold, the steel gate slammed shut instantly. The space inside the trap exploded into chaos. Loud squeals echoed while heavy bodies crashed against the steel. They struggled desperately, trying to break the fence. The moment felt suffocating and intense, yet it also marked the success of the operation in a single night. When the first light of dawn appeared, we approached the trap. The sight was overwhelming. More than a dozen large wild boars crowded inside, their bristles raised and their eyes glowing with fear. Sharp tusks scraped against the steel bars, producing a harsh metallic sound. Standing before them, you realize how small humans truly are compared to the raw power of the wild. Professional wildlife control is not simply about capturing animals. It also involves handling and transporting them safely and efficiently, protecting both people and livestock nearby. As the morning sunlight filtered through the leaves, the cold darkness of the previous night slowly faded away. The fight to protect crops is never easy. But with the right techniques and patience, people can still find ways to coexist with nature and manage wildlife responsibly. A long night had come to an end, and today Mr. Daniel and the farmers here could begin their day in familiar peace.
In a small village in the southern United States, the nights are no longer as quiet as they once were. Wild boars have begun to move in, tearing up fields, bending wooden fences, and leaving fresh tracks right beside the homes where people live. But this time, the villagers chose a different approach. Instead of reacting the old way with scattered and short-term measures, they made a new decision together, to build a shared control system for the entire village. This system was designed to guide the movement of wild boars and reduce long-term conflict with wildlife. This time, the question was no longer, how many wild boars can we catch? But how to ensure the entire village could sleep peacefully again. The biggest change was not the equipment, but the mindset. The goal of the system was not to catch as many boars as possible, but to break their habit of moving toward the village. The focus shifted from reaction to prevention. Instead of placing traps in areas already heavily damaged, control structures were positioned in transition zones, places where wild boars usually slow down when moving from the forest toward farmland. Here, they reduce their speed, observe their surroundings, and assess the environment before choosing their next direction. These are the critical points in their travel routes. Even a small change here can influence the movement of an entire herd. For that reason, each structure is not considered a separate trap, but part of a broader control network surrounding the village. Effective control begins with strategy, not tools. Once the system was established, residents began using bait to attract the wild boars. During the early stage, no traps were activated. Everything remained unchanged for several nights, allowing the boars to approach, observe, and gradually become familiar with the structures.
Come on. Load up. Dusty. Come on. Come on.
The cameras installed were not meant to count animals, but to track how they move, how long they stay, and how the group responds to the environment. This data helps managers understand wild boar behavior and make decisions based on observation rather than guesswork or instinct. By avoiding rushed intervention, the system operates according to natural behavior instead of forcing outcomes. When animals do not feel threatened, their true behavior becomes visible. There is no sudden blockade and no aggressive driving away. Instead, subtle adjustments gradually reduce how often wild boars move deeper toward the village, guiding them back to their natural areas. For the wild boars, these are simply different choices within their environment. But for humans, it is a way of guiding behavior without increasing stress or unnecessary risk. The entire system functions as a unified structure, driven by data, timing, and coordination between people. A system is only truly effective when every part moves in the same rhythm. By the next morning, the village slowly returns to its familiar rhythm. There are no new tracks on the ground and no new damage to fields or homes. Life begins to stabilize again. In wildlife management, long-term solutions rarely come from direct confrontation. They come from understanding animal behavior, using data, and applying responsible guidance strategies. Peace does not come from how many animals are captured in a single night, but from creating an environment where people and nature can coexist without conflict.
There you go, there you go. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep. Let's go, let's go. Yep, 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 yep. There you go.
If you found this story interesting, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to explore more real stories about life and nature.